maybe Matt can do our prayer.
It is 7 o'clock, and I welcome you to the Town of Trophy Club Council meeting. And I want to also thank you to all of those who may be online. We appreciate you coming online, and of course, would love to see your shining face in here, but since not, the online will work, and hope that it's a good experience for you and that you learn a lot about your town and the opportunities we have in the town as we continue to go forward. This is September the 9th, and it's 7 o'clock, and we also, as you can see, we have our council all present, a quorum, and we look forward to being with you tonight. And since Joel is not here, we will start with the pledges, and Luann, would you please stand?
Stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Honor
the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. Thank you. If Joel comes, we will have an invocation. Tammy?
We did not receive any public comments in the meeting this evening, but there was an email that was sent to you this afternoon from Pat Keeper, 216 Fresh Meadow. The subject line is 3 ways to avoid industrializing Trophy Club.
Thank you. We appreciate it. Thank you very much. We will then have our community spotlight, and we invite Mary and John to come, and they will be presenting on the Metroport Meals and Wheels, a partner in this area for many years. So delighted to have you both here.
So, thank you all so much, Mayor and Council. I'm Mary King, Executive Director at Metroport Meals on Wheels, and John Thane is with me. He is President of our Board of Trustees. We appreciate the opportunity to be here tonight. Okay, yes. All right, I may need a tutorial. No.
You didn't break it now.
Okay, perfect.
Awesome.
Thank you. Metroport Meals on Wheels has been a part of this community for 44 years. We were founded in Roanoke April 1st, 1980, and we have served this community and the region continuously since then. Our mission is to be a grassroots volunteer advocate for seniors and those in need through home-delivered meals, senior center luncheons, and other support services. Our vision is being neighbors helping neighbors to alleviate hunger, isolation, and loneliness in our communities and to foster the dignity, worth, and independence of each individual we serve. Let's see. Okay, our milestones are jumping all over the place, but again, April 1st, 1980. In 1981, at the request of area seniors, we instituted the Senior Center Lunch Program. In 1992, we outgrew our volunteer kitchens. Our volunteers up to that point had been cooking the meals in their own homes and delivering to the shut-in seniors that we were meeting with. We outgrew those kitchens. The Marriott Solana Hotel partnered with us and became our first meal partner. We now have 8 meal partners spread across our region, which is basically DFW Airport West to Boyd in Wise County, south of City of Denton, and north of North Loop 820. So we cover quite a hefty footprint. We're real glad we still have wheels. 1992 also saw us launch our first golf tournament. As we grew beyond the volunteers donating food and time and labor, it was necessary to fund the operation.
This might be a good time to plug.
Coming up.
Oh, okay.
Coming up. In 1998, we opened Sadie's as a thrift store. It is now Sadie's upscale consignment and resale. It is adjacent to our offices in Roanoke, and we would love for you all to come in. I haven't seen the store look better in ages, and lots of treasures out there waiting for you. In 2002, we began the Winter Meals Program, where we were delivering about a 3-day supply of meals to our home delivery folks so that they would have something on hand if we had inclement weather. We had instructions of please don't open until there's ice on the road. And we have continued that every year since. The need for assistance with pantry staples and other meals led that program to grow into our Staples for Seniors program, and that is ongoing with monthly deliveries. In 2005, we inaugurated our Stockings for Seniors, which is a massive effort to bring the community together to remember seniors who are at home and alone during the holidays. In 2013, we hit 1 million meals. So it was an exciting time. It's amazing how much we have grown since then. Let me come back. Okay. 2014, Pet Patrol. Many of our seniors were sharing their food, their people food with their pet companions. So we have partnered with Don't Forget to Feed Me. They provide bulk dog food and cat food, which is also delivered on a monthly basis. 2022, 2 million meals, a real milestone. And we also launched at that point our first Party in the Pasture. Next year, we will have Party in the Pasture on March 29th. Our golf tournament will be on November 4th this year at Champion Circle. So we would invite you all to join us for both of these celebrations. It's the 33rd golf tournament and has been a sellout for the last several years. And John is exiting in December as chairman of our board and moving straight into chairman of Party in the Pasture. So if you have questions about that, I'm sure he can fill you in. And
We can talk about that. No, that's fun. It's great.
okay, anyway, we are fast on track to hit our 2.5 million meal milestone in late '24 or early '25. Okay. 44 years of service, but the hallmark of our service when we were founded to be a local community program. We do not accept federal funds for reimbursement for meals, for operations. The only time that has gone by the wayside was 2 grants we got that were passed through CARES Act funding during COVID. Other than that, there have been no federal or state government funds that have supported our program. It is all a local program. In our world, need is defined by hunger and isolation, not by age, not by income. 90% of the folks we serve need help with the cost of their meals. Last year, the average cost of a home-delivered meal was $6.57. The average reimbursement we received or donation we received from a home delivery recipient was $1.14. So the fundraising events Party in the Pasture golf tournament, Sadie's resale is what we depend on in addition to just a tremendously generous and overwhelming level of support from the community to make sure that we're always able to say yes to the seniors that need help with meals. Last year, we delivered over 50,000 meals to 375 people in their homes. We served over 86,000 meals in area senior centers. We have 12 sites. Each is unique to the community it serves and can provide services anywhere from once a month to multiple times a week, depending again on the community's needs and requests. We provided almost 25,000 shelf-stable meals. These are the pantry-stable meals that are delivered monthly to home delivery participants. It is on a request basis. If our folks want it and need it, we are happy to deliver it, but it is not a universal delivery. We have some folks who are able to take care of their weekend needs, and they've asked not to receive them. So right now, about 3/4 of the folks that we deliver to at home have requested the pantry staples. We also provide nutritional supplements, and that's the Ensure, Boost, what have you, that our participants need. And again, it's provided at no cost. In addition to what we provided to the participants that we deal with on a regular basis, we channeled donated resources in the tune of over 15,000 meals to area of community assistance programs. So we feel like our stewardship is dedication to the entire community. If it's not something that we can use or need or our folks need, we want to find the right resource for it and share and help everyone along the way. We provided over 1,000 pounds of pet food last year, and I couldn't even begin to tell you how many personalized Christmas gifts during the holidays to our people. We have already started getting wishes for this year's Christmas, and we'll be online with that by mid-October. Home delivery participants ranged in age from 34 to 103. 79% were over age 70, 71% were women, and 100% were alone for extended periods of time. 86% of our home delivery people were able to continue living in their own homes. Okay, major sources of funding. Again, I'm sorry, am I a broken record? Party in the Pasture, March 29th, 2025. The golf tournament, November 4th, 2024. Sadie's, 10 to 3, Monday through Saturday, right here. We also could not do what we do without just the loyal support of individuals, corporations, churches, and civic organizations. Trophy Club Women's Club is a tremendous benefactor with grants every year. South Lake, Colleyville, Keller Women's Clubs also, men's civic organizations. It takes a village. We have a fabulous village, and they are so giving and sharing. Foundations and then city grants. Town of Trophy Club has allocated $2,000 a year for senior services. We appreciate that partnership, and we do our very best to be the stewards you want us to be of those funds. Folks who are able to pay for home-delivered meals do. They are never asked to pay more than the number of meals they receive and the amount of the food cost that goes into that meal. No administrative fees. So, again, it's if they can pay, they do. over 90% are not able to pay the cost of the meal. It's subsidized. There is no collection that goes with it. It's, if they've asked for an invoice and then they're not able to pay, we discount it, we write it off. It's about being as dignified as possible in our dealings with these folks at times in their lives that are not always easy. Y'all can look, our home delivery covers a large area. Senior centers, Colleyville, Keller in Keller, the Evergreen community, Grapevine, Flower Mound, Haltom City, Hazlet, Highland Village, Justin, Keller, Richland Hills, Roanoke, and South Lake. We do have an open door policy in all of our centers, so anyone who wants to join us is welcome unless the city where the facility is has some stipulation about attendance. But where we're concerned, the welcome mat is always out, and we have a really good representation from Trophy Club at the Roanoke luncheons. We're all about dignity, respect, concern, and contact. We deliver food, we offer friendship, and so much more. Pauline, you see in this picture, has, that's not a real green leafy salad in front of her. That was a succulent dish garden that a civic group did a lot of and gave to us to send out to our participants. So we are always welcoming opportunities to partner with groups in the community to provide little tangible symbols of care and concern throughout the year. And then she has her meal next to it. But thank you so much for letting us be here today, for letting us serve your citizens. And John has some, our annual report and a flyer that we've provided for your first responders here, just so that people will know. It is a joy to be able to work with our seniors and to be able to work with your citizens.
Thank you, John.
Well, I do know that Stacy Bauer has been a deliverer of food for the Meals and Wheels and myself, and I wanted to say that beginning next year, Mary, Trophy Club will be celebrating their 40th anniversary, and you're saying you've been here for 44 years, so
Yeah.
there you go.
Yes.
How about that? Isn't that cool?
Okay, we'll have to have mutual celebration.
Yeah, that's great.
So,
Thank you.
all right.
And we now have 2 board members that live here in Trophy Club, so we're excited to have them on board.
And who are they, please?
Wade Mullis and.
Mullen just came on, and then
Yes.
Jose
And-
Duran.
Oh, okay, good.
So-
Yeah, so,
Good.
So
but
we have people right in your backyard working with us.
Trophy Club is making a difference.
And
Yes.
First Financial's marketing president director is on the board, correct?
Yes.
Correct.
Yeah. Well represented, as it should be, because you're in the heart of it all, so we appreciate it. Anybody have questions? No. Comments?
All right.
Thank you all
so
so
What a
much.
mission. Isn't it amazing to see something start 44 years ago and see what you're doing today?
Well,
If you're
and
just
when I
around long
started
enough.
looking at the timeline and how many years, 23, 33 years to get to 1 million meals,
and
and
then
then 9 years later, we're at, or was it, I guess it was 11 years later, we've doubled that. So, I mean, the need is growing, and we're just excited to be able to grow with them.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you coming
Thank you as
and
well.
sharing with us.
Remember, November 4th, the golf tournament. Thank you.
Okay, so what do? Put your own team together, and how much is the cost of the team?
You have to go online.
Yeah.
And the gentleman you mentioned earlier, Mr. Monahan at First Financial,
Right.
he's a golf chair.
Okay,
But I believe it is $1,000 for a foursome.
Okay.
And then you get all the accolades and all the benefits that go along with it during that day. And it's a lot of fun as well.
yeah. Okay, good.
Thank you so much.
I think we ought to do that. Okay, thank you so much. Appreciate it. God bless you in your service. Okay, anybody have an update from the town council? Certainly, Dennis has an update,
The weather in Europe is very cold.
and I was prepared.
Yes. No, I was not.
I have one thing.
Okay.
I just want to say thank you to our parks team. and everybody that worked together for the Taste of Trophy Club. It was a beautiful event. The weather was not Europe weather, apparently. It was a gorgeous night. Your team did amazing, and it was a great turnout. So thank you to you and your team.
Ditto on that one. Somebody else? Anybody?
Yeah, it was a great event. I thoroughly enjoyed it. The food was
Yeah.
really good, weather
yeah.
perfect, so nice event, well done.
Anybody else have comments? We did visit, we were, myself, Brandon, a couple of us were at the Northwest Independent School yearly update on Friday. And I guess, correct me if I'm wrong, but people are always asking this. I believe I heard that the construction of the stadium will begin in 2026. Everybody's always asking about that. It's not 2025. Design is all next year. 2026 is when construction will begin. And I don't know then at what point it will, but that does affect us for sure. So, other comments?
One thing about that construction, Dr. Faust was very proud to tell us that in their design, they've designed in for Trophy Club Stadium,
Yes.
150 golf cart parking
Yeah.
spots.
Yeah. Cut down on that traffic.
Yeah.
So, and I know you love the golf carts back there, Chief. Okey-doke. Next on update from the town manager.
All right, I do have a few items for today. First of all, I'll bring forward our Communications and Marketing Director, Jill Lynn. She will share with us an exciting new opportunity on our website and available through text.
Good evening. Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'm pleased to announce the launch of our new AI-powered customer service platform, Ask Indy. Named in honor of our recently retired K-9 officer, Indy, this tool is designed to enhance our service capabilities. I'm going to pull it up. You can find Ask Indy in the bottom right corner of the town website. Right here, you simply click on the icon to ask a question. And I'm going to type in, when is trash pickup? Oops, if I could spell it right. When you type in your question, the platform will search the website for relevant information and provide an answer if it's available. It takes just a second, although I misspelled it.
While it's answering,
Yes.
just to clarify, all information that you will be asking for is on the website, not
Correct.
out in cyber world.
Correct, yes. And we have linked a couple websites that we identified as partners, like the Trophy Club Women's Club. So if there's a question about one of their events, it should link them to their
Okay.
website as well.
Okay.
So it says trash pickup in Trophy Club is on Fridays if you have any other issues or needed more information. We also have links to Republic as well. Again, another partner site for people to get more information. If Ask Indy cannot find an answer, you can reply message or report an issue, and this will create a virtual ticket that is routed to the appropriate department for follow-up. And for mobile access, you can text hello to 877-558-2582 or 877-55-T-Club, and you will receive a prompt asking how Indy can assist you from there. And with Ask Indy on our side, you'll always have a loyal companion for your questions, and it's positively the best way to get the answers you need.
It is wonderful. I actually, I don't know if y'all had
Yeah.
if you tried it, so it's really fun, exciting. It's always nice to have Indy in our,
Yes.
close by.
I did send Barry a screenshot earlier and let him know about it, and he's very pleased and very excited.
Yeah,
So,
it's great.
Mayor,
It really is, oh, sorry. Go ahead.
that's all right. I was going to say the other night, I had someone text me and said, Luann, when can we put out our political signs? And I had Indy's phone number. I said, hang on.
I know it.
Text it within 2 seconds. I'm giving them the ordinance. You know, they're going,
It's so much
you are
easier."
so smart. And I said, no, it's Indy.
Indeed. Well, and we're working with the vendor as well and linking Laserfish, so hopefully we'll be able to pull even more information through that website as well.
Thank you. Other comments?
It is
Good.
awesome, great job.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, Ask Indy really is a new, it's a brand-new tool for us. Please, would encourage the public, go ahead and take an opportunity to go online, ask it questions, see what the answers are. If you get to something that doesn't look like it's quite right, feel free to let the town staff know, and we'll go ahead and figure out what's going on the backside of it to correct that. But it's amazing how accurate and how quickly that information is able to get to our residents. No need to call us anymore. If you have simple questions, try Ask Indy first and see what the answer is. If you don't get what that is, feel free to give us a call. But it's going to be much faster to either text Indy or go online and put in that question.
Well, what I discovered is it's much easier to do that than look around in those agendas trying to find the information.
That is true.
So it is fast and good.
Absolutely. Next, I'll have our Parks and Recreation Director, Chase Ellis, come forward and give you a quick update on where we are with the Parks Master Plan process, because I know the council is very interested in that.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. The RFQ closed on the 30th, and we had 8 total firms that had submitted RFQs for the Parks and Rec Master Plan. The team is currently in the evaluation period. Those scores will be to us here later this week, and the goal is to then the top 3 to 4 where the clear break is, bring them for interviews on the 19th. And then our goal is to then bring the recommendation to the council for that consultant, the first meeting in October.
Wow.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, next, we invite the council and the public to join us at the fire station for a moment of silence on September 11th for our Patriot Day ceremony. That will be at 8:45 a.m. to honor those who lost their lives in the 2001 attacks on the towers. Our community event will include remarks from local leaders, a moment of silence at 8:59, and a chance to thank first responders. Everyone who would like to come is welcome to participate and show their support. National Day of Service. In honor of September 11th National Day of Service, we are going to come together for a community cleanup day at Trophy Club Park on Saturday, September 14th. That's this Saturday. Participate in one of 3 shifts. Those shifts go from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m., 10 a.m. to noon, and then from noon to 2 p.m. And help us keep Trophy Club Park beautiful. We'll provide litter grabbers and trash bags, and feel free to bring your own gloves, bug spray, sunscreen, things like that. But you do need to go online and sign up at trophyclub.org to reserve your place in one of those spots. So far, attendance was looking pretty good. I think we were at about 150 or so this morning for it, and so we anticipate that number will grow throughout the week, but we could use many more hundreds of people if the numbers are available. All right, the next thing we have is National Night Out. That will take place for us on October 1st this year. Neighborhoods throughout Trophy Club can join the Trophy Club Police Department and thousands of communities nationwide for the annual National Night Out Against Crime. You can participate by notifying your neighbors to turn out their outside lights from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m., organizing a block party, and registering your events with the Trophy Club Police Department. So for those who are interested, go ahead and reach out to them, and they will make sure to come by and participate in that event with you. Okay. And then our upcoming boards and commissions meetings, we have on September 16th, we have a Parks Board meeting at 6 o'clock, and then on September 19th, we have our Economic Development Corporation Board meeting also at 6 o'clock, both of those here at Town Hall. And then, let's see, other upcoming events we have on Monday, September 16th, our next Breakfast with Tiffany. That will be at 9 o'clock in the morning at Starbucks inside of Tom Thumb. And that is all that I have this evening, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Consent agenda.
Oh, we're not going to do our
Goodness.
Dean.
We
Oh,
love that.
forgive me.
I'll do it very quickly right here. So we're going through the budget process. I thought it'd be appropriate, and also with the comments about Indy and quick access to our code of ordinances and charter. The budget process is governed by town charter. It's also governed by state law. There is a section in the town charter, if all those who are out there watching want to look and follow along. It's section 9.04 and 9.05, and that's where you can find your budgetary process. It's also under Chapter 102 of the Texas Local Government Code, and there's some cross-references into Chapter 26 of the Texas Tax Code. So it is a complicated process, but not so complicated if you read through it a couple times and you watch the council tonight. So that's my civic tip.
Read through it
Are
a
you
couple
telling
times.
us something? What do you want to tell us, Dean? Go ahead. Are you finished?
I'm done. Yeah, that's great. Yep.
I thought you were going to do 2 things.
Oh, 2 things.
Never mind.
2 tips.
Ask Indy.
Yeah, I thought you were going to say something about
I was
it.
gonna ask Indy.
I thought there were 2 items.
Did you?
Oh, my goodness. Oh, that was it?
That's it.
Oh. Consent agenda, please.
Item 3, consider an ordinance of the Town of Trophy Club, Texas, amending Chapter 1, General Provisions, Article 1.02, Administration and Finance, Section 1.02.001, Signature Authority of Mayor and Town Manager of the Code of Ordinances to authorize the town manager to execute interlocal cooperation agreements equal to or less than $25,000. Item 4, consider an ordinance amending the fiscal year 2024 budget to appropriate funding for claims related to vehicle hail damage and for repairs to fire department's ladder truck. Item 5, consider authorizing the town manager to negotiate and execute a vehicle repair contract with Siddons Martin Emergency Group LLC in an amount not to exceed $32,447.23 for fire apparatus repairs and testing.
Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Mayor, I'd
Yes,
like
sir.
to request agenda item number 3 be pulled.
Okay, is there a motion to accept 4 and 5?
I'll make a motion to accept consent agenda items 4 and 5.
I'll second.
Thank you. All those in favor, raise your hand. All those opposed? Motion passed. Now we will open up the agenda item number 3. We will not read it again, if that's okay.
Fine.
And since you have asked for information, would you
I
like to
promise to
lead
take
the
less than a
discussion?
half hour.
Okay, let me see.
I think
Time.
the ILA, which is the interlocal agreements, has been a prerogative of the council. And before council gives that prerogative up for any form, I thought an open discussion should happen. I'm understand that it is included with the in the ordinance with the part that discusses funds which have been budgeted and anticipated. I've never coordinated ILAs with funds and budgets because they could be separate, they could be no money, they could be a variety of things. I understand the ability to approve, have the town manager approve something below 25,000. But I didn't know, or I didn't see where the ILAs would correspond in that aspect. So that's where I'm trying to open it up for discussion. And I've got a couple other items, but I don't know if any other council person has has any comments on this.
It's more a question, and it's probably directed at Dean or Brandon. So if there wasn't a dollar amount, let's just say there's an ILA agreement with no money. Does the town manager today have the ability to execute that ILA, a new ILA? Or does that always go to council, to what Dennis was talking about? So let's take the $25,000 limit out.
Sure, I'll speak to that. So the Interlocal Cooperation Act requires the governing bodies to approve all interlocal agreements. There's at least one AG opinion that suggests that internally, municipality, or in the case of that AG opinion, it was the Texas A&M, would be able to internally adopt ordinances or policies that would allow people to approve ILAs without approval of the governing body. Basically, your ordinance gives the authority. You don't have an ordinance that specifically gives authority. But the issue is you have interlocal agreements that are submitted routinely to sometimes departments. And I'll give you an example. Sometimes it might come from an agency of the state like TxDOT, who will say, we want an interlocal agreement department to department. But a department of the town can't approve any kind of agreement. A department of the town doesn't exist as its own jural entity, right? And so the issue that we face always is you might send red lines out to TxDOT and say, hey, you can't have an agreement directly with a town department. It's got to be with the town council, approved by the town council. And they'll say, no, we're not going to make any changes. And so what you have is you might have a contract like that is $0. But that the other agency, state agency, federal agency, local government will refuse to change. So that's what the impetus is here. That's what kind of spurred this on. It's these handful of agreements that you'll get routinely every single year.
We've had a couple of these, haven't we?
Yes.
Very recently? Yeah.
We had one over for vehicle maintenance that was a little more than 25,000, but that's one that comes to mind. Appreciate Dennis bringing this up so that we could air it, because it is an interesting conversation, right? The law exists for some reason. In my memory, I can't think of anyone that was under that threshold that was anything other than just purely operational. So I don't have an issue with this as the way it's written. I support it for operational needs. The things that we get into relative to true interlocal cooperation that start to get really complex are typically well above that dollar value. So I think that I'm probably okay with it unless I hear a good reason, a good example why it might not be the best idea.
Oh, I would support it also because I think it just lends to efficiency, doesn't engage us. You can, if a decision needs to be made, it can be made without waiting for a council meeting or a council call. And again, I'm not as knowledgeable about all this as Dennis, but I guess my only question is, anything above 25,000 has to come to the council. So this is a 25,000 or lower, which he has authority to spend up to what, 25,000 without,
Correct.
Yeah.
So long as there's funds allocated. for it.
correct, of course.
Okay, and appreciate it. It's all I wanted is open discussion. I will vote against it because I think most ILAs are easily covered, even the simple ones, by consent agenda, and council meets regularly, so unless there's a crisis. And the other thing, if I just heard it correctly, ILAs are not connected to funds or budget or as anticipated. So why have it part of that sentence? Why not put a separate sentence and put some limitations on it?
You could
So that's
certainly do that.
And I'll shut my mouth and go for somebody that wants to approve it.
Well, so how would that read then?
Well, I don't know, but all right, you've got a function that has been the prerogative of the council, and you're giving that up for whatever reason. It's identified in a sentence that properly has funds which have been budgeted or anticipated. But ILAs, if I just heard correctly, are not connected with funds.
So do you
So
want me to?
how do you,
Yeah. So the act actually requires that you have current revenues that are available. And so and it's the performance of governmental functions and services. And the issue that we typically face is that the contracts that we receive doesn't have the specific language that's required by the act. And so I'll send that out to other governmental entities and they'll say, we're not going to make that change. But the act has built into it a limitation on current revenue. So it's only limited to revenues available to the paying party. But you're right, it could be zero and it could be $1 million. And so the idea here was to fit it squarely within the 25,000.
into that sentence?
Yes.
Okay. Well, all right, I still object, but thank you.
Okay. Would someone like to make a motion, please, on item 3? Don't we need to make a motion to approve it?
I'll make a motion to amend Chapter 1, General Provisions, Article 1.02, Administration and Finance, Section 1.02002, Signature Authority of Mayor and Town Manager of the Code of Ordinances to authorize the town manager to execute interlocal cooperation agreements equal to or less than $25,000.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Just before you do that,
What?
one change, 001. Thank you, and Councilmember Sheridan
Yes.
pointed that out.
Oh, I was trying to be nice and
I
bring up
so-
that I found that error in there.
Yes, Dennis,
I so amend my motion.
we love
When,
you,
when
Dennis.
we're waiting for a motion, I just go straight to the staff report and read. I'm like Ron Burgundy. I just read what's on the thing.
Okay. We amend to 1, and Stacy seconds. All those in favor, please raise your hand. All those opposed? Dennis opposes.
And
No.
Beach.
Oh, Dennis and Jeff. Jeff, I gotta start turning my head to the right. Dennis and Jeff opposed.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, let's go to individual items.
Item 6, consider an ordinance accepting an annual service and assessment plan update for authorized services, emergency services for Trophy Club Public Improvement District Number 1, the Highlands at Trophy Club, and the proposed assessment roll, setting a date for a public hearing on September 23rd, 2024, authorizing the publication of notice and directing the mailing of notices as required by law, enacting other provisions relating thereto, and providing an effective date.
Do,
I'm actually going to jump in on this one.
Okay, thank you.
Real
Thank
quick. So so this particular item here, we're going to recommend a slight deviation to it from what it is that you have in front of you today. This is for the annual service and assessment plan. This is related to the PID area on the northwest side of Trophy Club. In this area, this is specifically related to the emergency service district area there. Okay, so this is for the provision of fire services. This is unrelated to this particular item, to the infrastructure bond, right? That was the original creation of the PID that has on the larger amount between usually $1,500 and $2,000 that residents see on their annual assessments for their properties. What this is doing right here is it is setting the public hearing for us to hear public comment on that at the meeting on September 23rd, 2024. It has 7 o'clock on here. However, the mailing company has the letters out to go on that, and it says 6 o'clock on it. Since we'll be starting our work session, we're going to go ahead and amend the time here to be 6 o'clock, so it's consistent with the time that is going out in the mailing for that. So instead of being a 7 o'clock time, it'll be being held at 6 o'clock on September 23rd, 2024. However, we do not anticipate getting to that part of the meeting until later on in the evening, okay, even though the meeting will start at 6 o'clock. During that time, we will obviously accept public comment on the annual service and assessment plan for the PID. Again, this is for the provision of fire services in that area. So the action we would be looking for tonight really is setting the public hearing date for September 23rd, and then authorizing us to go ahead with those mailings to the public.
okay, do we have a motion for this?
I'll make a motion. I move to set the date for the public hearing to be held on September 23rd, 2024 at 6 p.m. to consider proposed assessments to be levied against the accessible property within the town of Trophy Club Public Improvement District Number 1, authorizing the publication of notice and directing the mailing of notices as required by law.
Is there a second?
Second.
Dennis seconds. All those in favor, raise your hand, and as Jeff's hands up, everybody's hand. Motion passes. Thank you very much.
Item 7, consider a resolution establishing the debt financing plan and tax rate goal for the fiscal year 2025 budget and the fiscal year 2025-2030 capital improvement plan.
And this is Brandon?
This is back to me again, yes. Council, the next several items that we have on the agenda are related to the fiscal year 2025 budget and all the approvals that need to happen with that. One of the items that came up during our meeting with the Finance Subcommittee this year was that they had asked for a debt financing plan and a tax rate goal to be memorialized, right, by way of resolution that the town council could consider, that really outlined the process for issuing debt over the next several years as we begin to take on more debts related to maintenance of our town. If you take a look at our capital improvement plan, we have about $15 million in street repairs and replacements scheduled in that plan over the next 6 years. We also have almost $1 million of sidewalk repairs that are part of that plan as well. And so there's, together, that's about $16 million worth of repairs and replacements that we have anticipated to do. How is it we are planning on funding that? We are planning on issuing debt in order to take that on. Remember that we have 2 tax rates. One of them being our M&O tax rate, one of them being our INS tax rate. That INS tax rate is how it is that we repay our debt and is more flexible to us in the way that the state allocates the authority to use that rate to be able to keep our town beautiful. And that's really the goal of that INS rate, right? It is to be able to do capital projects that we need to take care of our town. And so the state says you can go ahead and issue the amount that you need to be able to take care of your town. Within that within that debt financing plan and tax rate goal, there's a couple of sections, and I'll just briefly review those sections with you tonight as the way for how it is that we anticipate borrowing money over the next, really over the next 15 years as we issue debt to be able to take care of our town. The first thing that we'll do every year is we'll do a review of our existing debt. So our fiscal year 2025 debt payment, principal and interest combined, is about $2.9 million. That we have 10 bond issuances that are currently outstanding, and over the life of the 6-year CIP, 4 of those will reach the end of their terms. Okay, so we'll actually complete payments on 4 of those bonds during the 6-year CIP, and then we will continue to make payments on the others, and we're going to begin laddering in new debt to be able to take care of our streets and our sidewalks. So there's a review of existing debt. Then the second part is to anticipate future borrowing needs. Okay, we anticipate borrowing $7 million every 2 to 3 years in our CIP. That provides us about $3 million a year of street maintenance funds, and it also provides us about $500,000 for other needs such as sidewalks, medians, storm sewers, and things like that. Again, all of this money really is programmed in and designed to be for the use of maintaining the existing infrastructure. We're not talking about adding new things. Over time, we may talk about some of those options. So it's not out of the question that it could be considered. But in the 6-year CIP, as it's laid out right now, we are anticipating using those funds for street repairs, sidewalk repairs, again, medians, storm sewers, things like that. In that borrowing plan, we would anticipate our next upcoming issuance amount to be about $8.1 million, and that to be in the upcoming fiscal year of 2025. Our next borrowing would be 2027 at about $5.6 million. After that, 2030, we'd be borrowing about $7 million, okay? And then the schedule goes further than that. I won't go ahead and just read them all. But again, about every 2 to 3 years, issuing about $7 million in debt. Why every 2 years? And the reason is it's kind of keep track with cash flow needs. We could go out and borrow about $3.5 million every year, but by doing so, we're going to spend more money on attorneys and financial advisors and bond issuance payments and things like that. We want to minimize the amount of payment that we have to make and keep most of our money for directly going into projects. Okay. When we're done with that section, we're going to move on to the debt issuance structure area where we talk about issuing 15-year debt. And right now, we anticipate those interest rates being around 5%. So that's how we built the plan on it. Why do we have that in there? Well, because if for some reason we find ourselves in a need to be able to shorten or extend the terms of those bonds, that will impact what impact that has on the tax rate. We also want to take a look at where interest rates are. We're in a season right now where interest rates are higher than they normally are. Typically, for the last several years, we've been borrowing closer to 3%. Right now, we're borrowing closer to 5%. Hopefully, that number goes down over time. But as it does, right, then our capacity to issue more debt goes up. If the amount goes above 5%, then our ability to borrow goes down because we are paying more in interest than we are in principal. The next section really talks about our debt burden goals. One of those goals is to try and make sure that the amount of payment that we have every year, principal and interest combined, shouldn't be any more than about 0.125 to 0.125% of what our current taxable valuation is as a community. Those two numbers, kind of keeping in mind of where that number is, right, and making sure that it stays below it, helps to make sure that we're not borrowing too much and that our annual payments are not exceeding the amount of money that we'll have to be able to pay for that. We also want to do other goals, such as trying to make sure that we maintain a level debt profile, meaning that we're trying to make sure that our tax rate remains stable over time, and that means that our amount that we repay in debt has to remain relatively level as well. When we get done with the debt burden goals, it really goes into the tax rate goal section of the plan, where it says that we're trying to get to a tax rate goal on the INS side of about 10.5 cents. 10.5 cents, then, it's a very transparent and very easy way to explain to the public, right? How is it we take care of the critical infrastructure in Trophy Club? The answer is, well, we have about 10.5 cents on our levy that we use on a regular basis to make sure that we are doing that. All right, this money comes in and is how it is we pay for our street repairs, our sidewalk repairs, our medians, our park replacements, things like that. Everything that we need to replace is going to be within that 10.5 cents over time. It evaluates that against our current tax rate that we proposed for fiscal year 2025. And we have about a half a penny left to be able to kind of get up to the point of 10.5 cents. How will we achieve that over time? Well, the idea is that as our M&O rate drops and is forced to go down really because of Senate Bill 2, there are opportunities to look at increasing that INS rate up a little bit to be able to pay for the difference. Those two things together will make sure that we kind of keep a level debt profile over time with our tax rate goal of about 10.5 cents per $100 of taxable valuation. All of our forecastings are built on a 3% increase in our assessed valuation growth over time. So we just need to keep an eye on that and where it is that we're trending. Historically, we've done much, much better than that, right? So we would expect to outperform the plan right now, but we will let time go ahead and tell that to us before we make any modifications to it. The recommendation here is that not only do we adopt this year, this was a very wise idea by the Finance Committee of making sure that this is a plan that is written down and explained in its totality to those who would like to, understand how it is that we borrow money. As you might have staff changes or council changes over time, right? This document provides a roadmap of how it is that you would keep moving the current plan of maintaining the infrastructure here in Trophy Club. As part of the annual budget process, we anticipate bringing this plan back to you every year, an updated version of it, for your consideration and adoption at the budget time to make sure that we're accounting for any changes that we see in the bond market or our assessed valuation growths or tax rate needs or things like that over time. And I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have on it.
So I would just like to make a comment. So this design, this little packet, was an outgrowth of our finance subcommittee.
Absolutely.
Congratulations. Thank you very much. Excellent. Good job. Why is it important?
It's important because we need to codify as much as we can what our needs are to be able to fund debt finance projects, which will never go away, and two, they're going to continue to, they comprise some of the most important things we have to deal with. I don't want to call them assets because they depreciate, but they are assets relative to how we deliver services to residents, right? The only thing I would add to Brandon's presentation, and we talked about this in our subcommittee meeting some, is that I see this as a floating goal. It's very likely based on what we decide to do as a group and as a town strategically that the goal may need to go up, particularly as valuations go up. It's been as high as 11 or 11.5 in other budgets I've worked on in the past, but we can't just go get all that right now and stay tax rate neutral because of SB 2. So 10.5 is the right place for where we're at today, but I'm always looking ahead, right? Is that enough debt capacity? What's your borrowing power, right? This is your pre-qualification letter for building streets.
Yeah, yeah, Dennis?
Yeah, going along with what Ryland said, my little bit of time on council and this is my third budget going into fourth budget. Every time we talk about debt, it's been reinvent the wheel from the beginning. So, and I voted against it last time because it's too broad spectrum and didn't have specific projects identified. The staff has done a fantastic job of putting together a CIP program that's approved by council this time.
Right.
And we've looked at it, and they're very specific. And this debt program goes along with that, because in the next 25 years, we got $40 million worth of stuff coming down that's going to have to be replaced, and this goes right along with it. It's not set in bronze, it's a resolution, so next councils and whatever, or like you said, can be adjusted per the ordinance. And I like that. But I still have a problem with the boilerplate language that I'm sure you're going to use, that I may vote against again if I don't like the boilerplate language they use next time. Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else comment? Well, again, I just think that we continue under our leadership to put into processes that give us a sense of stability, sustainability, as well as our management team, our council changes and so forth, we have a plan from which we can operate versus reinventing the wheel every time. So congratulations to the subcommittee, congratulations to April, and all the people that are doing a good work in getting us organized in a budget financial world. Thank you. I appreciate it. I don't know about anybody else, but I do. and I know the town does. Thank you so much.
So,
No, we need a motion. Somebody make a motion, please.
so I'll make a motion to resolve establishing the debt financing plan and tax rate goal for the fiscal year 2025 budget and the fiscal year 2025-2030 capital improvement plan.
Is there a
I'll second.
Steve seconds. All those in favor, raise your hand. All those opposed, motion passes. Thank you.
Item 8, consider a resolution adopting the Town of Trophy Club fiscal year 2025 business plan.
Oh, this is really good.
Okay, so the next item that we have relative to the budget for this year is the town's first, as I know it, business plan. There could have been others before. I haven't been able to find a clear business plan for it. But the business plan, so this is, so when I was first hired with the town council, one of the things that you had asked me to do was to go ahead and create a strategic plan for that. And we are very, very close to completing that strategic plan. That has an outlook to it of 5 to 20 years. For it. So those items will take time to complete. A subset of that are the items that are prioritized for the next upcoming fiscal year, right, 1 to 2 years, that the town needs to focus on to set itself on the right trajectory to complete its most important goals that we have. That is what we refer to as our business plan. So think of the business plan as the prioritized needs of the larger term strategic plan. So when we met with the council in a retreat format, we went through and prioritized among the strategic plan items, not only finalizing those, but also then what items should we be focused on in the next upcoming fiscal year. And the town council settled on 6 goals. I'll go ahead and read those goals out loud right now, and then we'll go ahead and move forward with this. But the first goal was to craft a comprehensive crisis communication handbook and emergency management plan, define the mayor's emergency communication responsibilities, and formulate an emergency management strategy. So really focusing on that emergency management plan for the town. Goal number 2 was to enhance public safety on town property by assessing and addressing traffic, mobility, and pedestrian concerns with a focus on golf carts and biking safety in crosswalks and sidewalks. Goal number 3 is to finalize a comprehensive master plan for parks and conduct a thorough inventory of the town's park assets. Goal number 4 was to develop a 10-year maintenance and replacement plan for the town's physical assets, setting funding targets and actively pursuing grant opportunities. Goal number 5 is establishing best practices for permitting senior group homes and boarding homes. And then goal number 6 is to continue redevelopment strategies and themes for this State Highway 114 corridor and other commercial areas. So those are the 6 goals. Each of those 6 goals have various work plans associated with them. These work plans are what it is that the departments generate to determine when it is that they have been able to achieve those goals. Essentially, it's project planning, right? Make sure that we have a good timeline set up and what things we need to do and when to complete those. All these items have also been incorporated into the annual budget. So the funding for them is all here in the budget. For it, when you adopt the budget, you'll be able to know that we have all that we need on the staff side to be able to make these goals work. And then we begin working on them. And we'll be reporting on these quarterly. So we'll be developing a website for this where we will be able to track all the progress that's being made on these 6 goals. So we'll be doing, and we'll be reporting on those quarterly. Right, and we operate on a fiscal year quarter process. So October 1 is the beginning of the quarter. Then the end of December is the end of quarter 1, right? January is the beginning of quarter 2. So it's a little bit different than that calendar year quarter process, but it is the year under which we work in government, which is the October to September 30 year for that. So I just want to thank the town council for your leadership, for your direction in helping to establish these 6 goals here as priorities for the community. On the staff side, we do look forward to working on these items and really bringing them to fruition, knowing that they'll have the desired impacts on the community as we've set forward our focus areas of things like prioritize, public safety, upholding housing standards, all the different goals that we have for the community. These are the things that will help us to get there. And I'll be happy to answer any questions if you have them.
Steve?
Not a question, but a comment.
Yeah.
We ended up with these 6 goals. Brandon did an excellent job leading staff at the retreat, and we literally spent half a day on this. And there was whiteboard everywhere, and there were probably 20 goals that we struggled over. How do you take 20 and get it to a manageable number, which was the 6? So there was a lot of thought and effort behind what you're seeing here.
Other comments? Dennis?
For clarity purposes, and I'm trying to learn from gentleman next to me, I word searched the word comprehensive plan, and it's mentioned in our charter 12 times. And I did a strategic plan, and it's not mentioned. But it is mentioned a strategic goal. And business plan is not mentioned at all. So for clarity, the strategic plan that you're still working on is our long-term plan, okay? And and that's going to be 5 to 20 years out. This is a business plan which is short-term, and we understand that portion. So what are we expecting next from the business plan? And double-check the language, Dean, between comprehensive and strategic. So what's next?
Well, the comprehensive plan is a little bit different documents, right?
Right.
On that one and is a different type of a document than a strategic plan, where we really outline major goals and initiatives to be able to achieve those goals on that part of it. So that strategic plan really is kind of like a guiding document for operationally how it is we achieve certain outcomes as a community, right? What type of a community do we want to be, and what are the goals and initiatives that we need to be able to get there for it? And a comprehensive plan is going to be more about how we see growth in our community, right? The way that we outline our infrastructure, sidewalks and things like that.
And understand that the strategic is over that, but don't forget that it's mentioned in our charter, so it has to be addressed. That's what I'm coming to, right? And the other thing that I want to thank you for putting the tracking measurements in here.
Right.
It's important to have our goals, but it's also important to be able to track them.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, that lends me to, this is like perfect timing, because when is October the 1st? In 2 weeks.
Couple of weeks.
So, starting in 2 weeks, this is our measurement of your performance. It's the measurement of the performance of our leadership team, you, as well as the people on your team. And I think that this is just wonderful in terms of us being able to ask, how are you doing on this? I mean, we don't need to be talking about it. I might just go in there and say, how are you doing on this? What's happening? So I hope that the council will use it as a way to even have our weekly conferences with you. This is our guiding source. It's wonderful, along with the debt plan. But it's really good. Thank you so much. Good work. Any comments? Anyway, I'm going to take this out. I'm going to put it in my daily study guide of the Town of Trophy Club and keep it close. Good job. Thank you.
Well, I'm ready to make a motion if y'all
Okay.
are ready to accept it.
Go for it.
I make a motion to adopt the Town of Trophy Club fiscal year 2025 business plan.
I'll second.
There's a second by Stacy. All those in favor, raise your hand. Those opposed? Motion passes. Thank you.
Item 9, consider resolution adopting the fiscal year 2025-2030 capital improvement plan.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. This year's budget marks a significant step forward with a comprehensive reorganization of our capital improvement plan. The updated 6-year plan allocates over $16 million towards replacement and maintenance, focusing on addressing critical infrastructure needs. This strategic investment ensures that Trophy Club remains well-maintained and resilient, positioning our town to effectively meet both current demands and future growth. Our goal is to safeguard the quality of life for our residents while preparing for sustainable development. A capital improvement plan is a strategic document that outlines our town's long-term investment in infrastructure and major projects. It serves as a roadmap for planning and financing significant capital assets and improvements over a multi-year period. For fiscal year 2025, our plan outlines the projects and funding needs over the next 6 years, from 2025 to 2030. This plan ensures that our infrastructure remains robust and capable of supporting our community's growth and future needs. Here are some highlights from our capital improvement plan. Street improvements and upgrades on Forest Hill Drive, Palmetto Court, Oakmont, Creekmere Drive and Court, and Alamosa. Sidewalk enhancements on Parkview, Durango, and Skyline. Storm drainage improvements on Inverness and Wilshire, addressing drainage issues to reduce flood risks. And the addition of new pickleball courts to meet the growing demand for this sport. For the full list and details of this plan, please check the capital improvement program on our website or in tonight's council agenda packet. As discussed in previous meetings, our goal is to maintain a stable INS or debt rate. This approach will support the funding of these projects alongside utilizing resources from the general fund, grant funding, the storm drainage utility fund, and the street maintenance sales tax fund. We believe these projects are well aligned with the council's goals and look forward to your approval of the plan as presented. With that, I'll be happy to answer any questions you might
Are there
have.
questions of April, please? No? Hey, no
I
questions.
was
Thank
gonna,
you.
I was gonna look up the Skyline sidewalk project
Is it
just to
your
make,
yard?
just to make a snarky comment,
Well,
but the
you know.
document's too big.
Notice that it says improvements, doesn't say adding.
Yeah, and what's the address?
Yeah.
You got a sidewalk in front of your house.
Is it
You
the
know.
400 block? Yeah, I don't know. All right.
You know, a little-
No, this is fantastic. Obviously, this is obviously another detailed outcome of some of the discussions we had during the budget process, but looking forward much further ahead. And, you know, we have, to Dennis's earlier point, this is another flavor of thing that we've had in various forms over the years. But this is programmed in as complete a way as I've seen it in a while, with more discussion than I think has been had in the past. So again, hats off to staff. I appreciate everybody putting their heads together on it.
April, will this make your job easier?
Yes, ma'am, it will.
Okay.
Not having a budget subcommittee will make it.
No. When
Yes, it
when I
sure
get off the
will.
budget subcommittee, that's when her job will be.
No, I absolutely depend on you.
Well,
Absolutely.
we appreciate your work again. We appreciate you continuing to learn and grow and make the finance department a strong finance department for Trophy Club.
Yes, ma'am.
Congratulations for your work.
Thank you.
We need a motion, please. I think. Anybody?
I move that we adopt the fiscal year 2025-2030 capital improvement plan.
Second.
Okay, Stacy seconds. All those in favor, please raise your hand. Those opposed, motion passes. Thank you, April.
Item 10, consider an ordinance adopting the fiscal year 2025 annual budget for fiscal year beginning October 1, 2024 through September 30th, 2025, making appropriations for each fund and department, and ratify the property tax increase reflected in the fiscal year 2025 budget.
Good evening again, Mayor and Council. This year's budget is built on a tax rate of 0.415469, which is the same as last year's tax rate. Of this number, 0.316042 makes up the maintenance and operations portion, and 0.099427 makes up the interest and sinking or the debt portion. This budget projects total revenues of $28,514,279, with $16,316,611 of that allocated to the general fund. Expenditures are estimated at $38,528,931, including $16,395,500 for the general fund. This budget includes several key changes from last year, staff adjustments consisting of a 3% cost of living adjustment, or COLA, for all staff, plus up to a 2% merit increase based on performance. New positions include an additional crossing guard for managing traffic around the high school and a part-time staff member for the Parks Department. departmental reorganization by separating the community pool into a separate department for clearer cost tracking, as well as major events like Taste of Trophy Club and Christmas in the Park have been moved to the Hotel Occupancy Fund to better align costs and revenues. Funding allocations including a Parks Master Plan and funding for replacement vehicles in the police, fire and EMS, and community development departments, as well as a shared cost for a SWAT vehicle. This budget also includes support for the Economic Development Corporation's Thrive Grant Program. These updates reflect our commitment to improving services and managing resources effectively. Budget savings were achieved through several key measures, resulting in over $300,000 in reductions. The town manager's contingency fund was reduced by $56,000, and Parks and Recreation realized $12,000 in savings by eliminating off-site storage costs. In IT, we consolidated software solutions and hardware needs, resulting in approximately $200,000 in savings. And additionally, electricity costs were lowered across multiple departments, leading to a further reduction of about $50,000. I'd like to extend a special thank you to the Finance Subcommittee members, Mayor Pro Tem Flynn, Councilmember Sheridan, and Councilmember Rowe. Thank you for all of the time that you put into all of these programs. We could not have done it without you, and we really, really appreciate your time. I'm now happy to address any additional questions you may have.
Anyone have a question, comment? Anybody? No one? Hey, you're going to get out of this easy. You ready? Anyone want to make a motion, please?
So I'll make a motion because it's rather complicated, if that's okay, Mr. Jeff.
Right ahead.
So there's actually two different motions here in item 10. First is a move to approve the ordinance adopting fiscal year 2025 budget for the fiscal year beginning October 1st, 2024 through September 30th, 2025, making appropriations for each fund and department.
Is there any discussion?
Second.
You don't second anything yet. Okay, we go for it. After discussion, I'm to ask Tammy to do a roll call.
Councilmember Bauer?
There's no motion.
Oh, I
Wait a
have a
minute.
motion and second.
We didn't
Motion
second the
second.
motion?
I seconded the
Oh,
motion.
okay, we second the motion.
Did
Dennis
I not
seconds,
second the motion?
but we
Second
don't
motion.
vote. We don't
Motion's on the
vote.
And
floor,
we
you're
vote.
ready for a roll.
What?
Are you
Roll
ready
call
to
vote,
vote?
roll call vote.
Yep.
Right, we're roll calling. I've just got this down.
Councilmember Bauer?
Yes,
Councilmember Beach?
Yay.
Mayor Pro Tem Flynn?
Yes?
Mayor Tiffany?
yes.
Councilmember Sheridan?
Yes.
Councilmember Rowe?
Yay.
Councilmember Olden?
Yes.
All in favor, zero opposed, motion passes.
Thank you very much.
Mayor, I would.
Hold on 1 second. Before you read that item, we're actually going to swap the order here
We're gonna go to
slightly
11.
and go on to the next item, then we'll come back to the
That's what I was going to
ratification.
say. I'm not going to read number 2,
Oh.
but thank you for saying I'm not going to read
I
number 2.
apologize.
Because we
Mayor
moved
Pro
it.
Tem, exactly.
That's
You
perfect.
had it.
Wow, we're getting really testy here.
Okay, then we're going to go.
Item 11, conduct a public hearing and consider an ordinance levying municipal ad valorem taxes for fiscal year 2025 from October 1, 2024 to September 30th, 2025 at the rate of 0.415469 per $100 assessed valuation on all taxable property within the corporate limits of the town of Trophy Club.
Call a public hearing, it's 8:13.
Good evening again, Mayor and Council. Tonight, we are holding a public hearing on the proposed tax rate for fiscal year 2025. The proposed rate of 0.415469 remains unchanged from the previous year. This rate includes a maintenance and operations component of 0.316042 and an interest and sinking component of 0.099427. While the overall rate stays the same, this tax rate will generate more revenue for maintenance and operations compared to last year, effectively resulting in a 5.16% increase. For a home valued at $100,000, this equates to an increase of approximately 37 cents in maintenance and operations taxes. We have not received any public comments on this agenda item and welcome any questions or feedback that you may have.
Is there anyone in the public want to speak? Anybody? Okay, it's 8:14. We're going to close the public hearing, and now we'll open it up to discussion for the council, please. Dennis, nothing.
Don't question it.
No, don't question. He's having surgery in the morning. Anybody have a comment? No. Okay,
Make a motion.
so we will make a motion.
You want me to read the motion, Madam Mayor?
Yes, sir.
It's a long one, so get ready.
It's complicated.
I move that the property tax be increased by the adoption of a tax rate of .415469, which is effectively a 4.99% increase in the tax rate, and move to approve the ordinance adopting the 2024 tax rolls and fixing and levying municipal ad valorem taxes for the fiscal year beginning October 1st, 2024, and ending September 30th, 2025, and for each fiscal year thereafter until otherwise provided at the rate of .415469 for a $100 assessed valuation on all taxable property within the corporate limits of the Town of Trophy Club as of January 1, 2024.
Anybody second,
I'll
please?
second.
Jeff will second that, and Tammy will call the roll.
Councilmember Bauer?
Yes.
Councilmember Beach?
Yay.
Mayor Pro Tem Flynn?
Yay.
Mayor Tiffany?
Yes.
Councilmember Sheridan?
Yes.
Councilmember Rowe?
Yes.
Councilmember Oldham?
Yes.
All in favor, 0 opposed, motion passes.
Okay, thank you. Now we're going back to,
We're going to ratify the property tax increase reflected in the fiscal year 2025 budget.
All right, one last motion. I move to ratify the property tax revenue increase reflected in fiscal year 2025 budget. This budget will raise more total property taxes than last year's budget by $628,512, or 6.14%. And of that amount, $134,787 is tax revenue to be raised from new property added to the tax roll this year.
is there a second?
I'll second.
Stacy will second that, and we will ask Tammy to roll call.
Councilmember Bauer?
Yes.
Councilmember Beach?
Yay.
Mayor Pro Tem Flynn?
Yay.
Mayor Tiffany?
Yes.
Councilmember Sheridan?
Yes.
Councilmember Rowe?
Yes.
Councilmember Oldham?
Yes.
7 in favor, 0 opposed, motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you again, Mayor and
Thank
Council.
you. Again, thank you, April.
Item 12, consider casting a vote for the official ballot of the Texas Municipal League Region 8 Director election.
And actually, do we need to identify who we're casting that vote for?
I can just give a real quick.
Okay, would you please? Thank you.
I sure can. Yep. So the Town of Trophy Club participates in the election of director for Region 8 of the Texas Municipal League. On that, we have 4 candidates who have been nominated by the rules of the Texas Municipal League. In order for you to vote on a nominee, that person has to be previously nominated by one of the entities. 4 individuals have been nominated, so their 4 names are Troy Dunn as a council member for Haltom City, Kim Greaves, who is mayor of Westlake, John McKenzie, council member for Hearst, and Mary Sarver, mayor pro tem for Grandview. Biographies for each of these candidates is included in the packet of materials that was provided. But for this evening, it would be appropriate for, if anyone would like to nominate an individual, to make a motion nominating that person as our vote here in Trophy Club, a second, and then obviously a vote on that person will allow us to submit Trophy Club's ballot.
I would like to nominate Kim Greaves, Mayor Kim Greaves of Westlake, to fulfill that appointment.
Second.
Jeff, seconds. All those in favor? Y'all need to speak it. Are you opposed?
I'm saying.
All those in
Should
favor?
ask if anybody else
It's
wanted to say something
unanimous.
else.
It's
It's unanimous. Thank you. Woo. Okay. We now go to an executive session.
Pursuant to the designated section of Texas Government Code 551074, personal matters, to deliberate the appointment, employment, evaluation, reassignment, duties, discipline, or dismissal of a public officer or employee, town secretary.
Okay, it is 8:18. We will convene into an executive session.
We dropped down to 9.
Jeff?
Make a motion, we adjourn.
It's 9:27, and we are reconvening into regular session, and Dennis has made a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
Done, out of here.
I didn't vote. I'd like to stay for a while.
Steve's bored.